Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Steven, and I want to talk about something that sort of came up fairly recently. All right, so YouTube user Chrissy released a few videos. In one of her videos, she talked about having a group that discusses colorism, but the group is only for dark-skinned women. And when I oddly enough, when I saw the title of that video, I didn't see the whole title because on YouTube, sometimes the whole title doesn't show. Sometimes you have to click into the video to see the entire title. So I didn't see the whole title, but for some reason, I knew that it was kind of like exclusive, right? For some reason, I felt like it was going to be exclusive and just kind of like center and only want like dark skinned women's in the group. When I clicked on the title, I found that to be true. And I did feel some type of a way about it. At first, I did. But upon thinking about it a little bit more and more, I was like, well, maybe that is a good thing that, she created this group exclusively and specifically for dark-skinned women to have conversations about colorism amongst themselves. However, I do take issue with the fact that dark-skinned men aren't included in this conversation. And that's kind of like an issue that I have with Rashida Strober too. It seems like, and I'm not bashing Chrissy or Rashida Strober at all, by the way, but I do feel like sometimes their application for dark skin only extends to dark skinned women when I feel like it should extend to both dark skinned women and dark skinned men. But that is their choice, of course. And I do think that dark skinned women do deserve and need avocation specifically for them. But I do just find it a little bit odd that it just seems to be, I don't know, it just seems like dark skinned men aren't really a part of the equation when it comes to these conversations. It just seems odd to me, right? But, on the other hand, let one of these dark skinned men say something that's anti black and directed towards dark skinned women, then, that's a problem. But on the flip side, you're not doing anything to sort of address that issue, right? But another story for another day. So I saw the group and I was, I did feel a little bit odd about it, feel a little some type of a way about it. But the more that I thought about it, I was like, well, perhaps this is a good thing. I think this probably is a good thing, to have that sort of, to create that safe space, right? And if you refer to it as an exclusive space versus a safe space, it does have a different connotation to it. Like if I said, oh, Christy has a safe space for dark-skinned black women to talk about colorism. It has a different connotation to it than versus, oh, Christy has an exclusive space just for dark-skinned women to talk about colorism. It has a different connotation with it. So the question that I want to put out there to you guys is, do you think that we should have, exclusive spaces / safe spaces for particular shades of people within the community? Like say, oh, light-skinned women should have their own group to talk about colorism, and dark-skinned women should have their own group to talk about colorism, and the same for dark-skinned men and light-skinned men. Or do you think we should all just come to one group and talk about colorism? Or do you think that we could have both, a combination of both? Because I think Chrissy feels like there's a combination of both. She may feel like her video comment section is sort of like a combination, contributes to that conversation, because her video comment section is open for any and everybody. But that particular group that she has is more so closed, and exclusive in a safe space for dark skinned women to talk about colorism. Um, but another aspect to talk about is like, shouldn't it be a safe space for dark skinned women to talk about colorism within the community? It should be a safe space for them to talk about their issues with colorism within the community. You know, anywhere in the community, it should be a safe space. Unfortunately, I don't believe that's true, though. And I know Chrissy, she is smart enough to know that that's not true, you know. And I think part of the reason for the exclusivity is because she doesn't want to have these comments coming from, you know, like light-skinned women feeling some type of a way, right? Trying to invalidate their experiences, right? Also, dark-skinned men coming through and co-signing those comments by the light-skinned woman. And also, I guess light-skinned men may factor in somewhere in there too. Um, but yeah, I can understand her feeling some type of a way about that, where she's like, I don't want to deal with that in this group. So this group is just going to be for dark skinned women to go in on colorism, all right, and to go in about their experiences with colorism. And I can understand that. You know, I personally have thought about making a group geared towards like light skinned men, but it wouldn't be exclusive though. I feel like it would be a group that would be more so centered around light skinned men. You know, that would be the specialty, but also, you know, other folks can have a say in, you know, their space too. Um, I like to think of it as like, you know, for example, Burger King, you know, their specialty is burgers, but they also serve you a chicken sandwich, a fish sandwich, a hot dog, a milkshake, some fries, you know, right? They're Burger King, but they do, um, you know, deal with other types of food, right? And the same kind of like how I view this group that I was thinking about possibly creating, right? Um, but I think the more serious and disturbing idea is that the black community is not a safe space for dark skinned women to speak on colorism. Just in general, I don't think that's entirely true. It's, you know, that's ultimately what's most disturbing about this, is that it's not like Chrissy is kind of like, well, I don't know her thought processes of why she decided to make the group exclusive or not. It's not my business as well, but I'm just saying I don't know. I'm just assuming she could have just made the group exclusive because she just feels like, you know, she don't want to fool with you folk. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I'm assuming that it's exclusive for other reasons. You know, it's a safe space, right? For other reasons, right? Um, but yeah, I do think it's disturbing that you kind of have to create a safe space within your community to talk about something that affects a big and important segment of the community. That's strange, right? Because I feel like she's making it exclusive to block out other black people. Not so much folks of other different races, but other black people. That's what's most disturbing about this, that, you know, it's terrible that you legitimately do not feel that the community is a safe space to talk about your grievances with colorism. But let's be honest, is it? You know, any dark skinned women who are watching this video, do you feel like the community has your back when you talk about colorism as a collective, right? Are we like, do you think the community as a whole is down for you and, you know, willing to hear you out, willing to challenge some things? etc., etc. I reckon to say probably not. If I was to place a bet, I would say that dark skinned women probably wouldn't feel that way. you know, and then to flip it around a little bit, some people feel like colorism is just like a black woman's issue. Ultimately, it's a black community issue. Even if it did only affect black women, which it doesn't, it affects all of us. But even if it only did affect black women, if it affects that segment of the community, then it affects the community, right? That's how we should view it. After all, women are the majority in pretty much worldwide. Women are the majority. I think there's more women than men actually in society. Um, and in the black community, there's more women than men, definitely, right? So that does, if it did only affect women, that does affect at least half, probably more of the community. So it should be an issue, but for some reason, we just want to sweep this stuff under the rug and not really deal with it. Oh, we have other issues to deal with. Oh, we got police brutality, police shootings. Oh, we got to talk about employment discrimination. And these are issues, of course, but I feel like we can have conversations about all of these things, not just choosing one or the other, right? So, I think we as a community need to do better in terms of in these types of situations, and this situation as well as situations like these. We need to do better as a community. We need to be able to create safe spaces for people to air their grievances, talk about their experiences without feeling like they're being judged or looked down upon, without being shamed and called angry, bitter, jealous, resentful, all these negative things, right? We need to create that space, but for some reason I don't see that happening. I don't know why, but I don't know. I don't see that happening. Mm. And to be fair, I can kind of see perhaps where Chrissy and Rashida Strober are coming from in their advocation more so strongly for dark skinned women versus dark skinned people, including, the men in it. Because do dark skinned men return the favor? Do you really see dark skinned men advocating for dark skinned women all that much? I mean, not to say that there aren't, I'm sure there are, but do you really see them out up front in the media like that, though? You know, Sometimes dark skinned dudes seem like the least sympathetic of dark skinned women, to be real. Honestly, I can understand where, like, the light skinned chick is coming from, and, perhaps even the light skinned dude, you know, but, I remember hearing Chrissy say on one of her videos that she did feel like, um, in her personal experience, she felt like light skinned men were the most sympathetic to, colorism, dark skinned women's experience with colorism, as well as her personal experiences with colorism, being probably the most sympathetic online and offline, you know. And I guess it's possibly because perhaps light skinned men do experience kind of like some colorism within the community, courtesy of dark skinned men, and perhaps some dark skinned women too, and perhaps even some light skinned women too, um, courtesy of, I feel like, the dark skinned men probably lead the charge, and then the other groups of women kind of like follow after them as well. You know. But, I do feel like sometimes dark skinned men kind of seem to just leave the dark skinned women kind of like alone on their own. You're like, you on your own with that. You're like, I got mine, I got my media promotion, I got my pedestal. Peace. Like, I don't care about you, right? Sometimes it does seem like that, you know. And I can understand, some dark-skinned women perhaps feeling some type of a way about that, you know. Especially when, the dark-skinned women tend to be like the ride or die chicks, riding for their men. And it's like, well, you know, I think a good question to ask is like, hey, is your man ride or die for you? I think that's kind of like the question I think black women, especially dark skinned black women, need to be asking. Because, you always do kind of hear about like the ride or die chick being promoted. Like, that's the chick who's down for you. You don't really hear that about like the men though. Folks don't put that on the men to be ride or die for their women. Not to say that there aren't men who are ride or die for the women, because there are. There are. But you notice that ain't put on the men. That's put on the women. You got to be the ride or die person, not the men. All right. But I think black women, especially the dark skinned black women, I think you might need to start asking yourself: is this dude ride or die for me? Especially if you ride or die for this dude, because a lot of times I feel like dark skinned women, they come to the defense of dark skinned men. Dark skinned women aren't putting other groups of men on a pedestal. They're putting the dark skinned men on a pedestal. They're not putting, light skinned men on a pedestal or the mixed dudes on a pedestal. And even if they do have a preference for those type of dudes, they keep it to themselves. They don't promote it and blast it and blare it in a song, or put a whole bunch of light skinned dudes in their music video. Like, again, I'm like, you black women, especially the dark skinned ones, you gotta start asking yourself these questions, thinking critically about this. Because it's like you giving so much, but you're not getting as much as you should expect to get back. Like you giving, but you're not getting what you're giving back. It's like you're getting crumbs, little of nothing, or even negative stuff. They're giving you stuff you don't want, So, I just ultimately I made this video just to talk about, exclusive spaces and safe spaces, and what do we feel about those spaces, but as well, usually when we have these conversations or when I do these videos, one subject leads into another because, intersectionality, right? So, yeah, I guess I'm done. But yeah, black women, especially dark-skinned black women, think about it, right? Think about it. And as far as how I feel about, exclusive spaces, I think they're cool, but I think we should have a combination of both, honestly. Exclusive spaces, but also spaces where we all kind of come together, because I think it's important for us to all come together at times, too, and have these conversations, right? Because I think if we have these conversations and be honest in these conversations, I think we can get somewhere. I think that is possible, but we have to be honest. We don't have to be, callous, rude, and sensitive, but I think we do have to be honest in these conversations that we have if we want to get somewhere. And get to the bottom and the root of these problems that we have and where colorism, factors into these problems. So, yeah, there you have it. Thanks for watching, you guys. Feel free to comment, subscribe, thumbs up. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. Adios and goodbye for now.